Those awakened in the Matrix find that their previous connections to a delusional reality can be a blessing or a curse. The dormant connections can be used to re-access the system and transform it from within, or they can be used to go back to sleep and live out life in a state of denial, even if this means betraying others who have awoken. In the Matrix and in reality, the promise of blissful delusion is a form of bribery that prevents rebellion. In psychological terms, these processes are comparable not only to spiritual and social awakening, but also to an adult's unconscious desire to return to the security of the womb. Neo's shock at being awoken to the horror of the slave system is comparable, even visually, to the trauma of birth itself. He looks around and sees that he is surrounded by people who are still asleep. The system discovers he is awake, cuts off his life support systems, and leaves him to drown. This parallels the abandonment that a person can be subjected to when they uncover a web of lies fed by their employers or by their government. People who have freed their minds of materialism in the modern world understand exactly what Morpheus is talking about in his blue pill, red pill speech.
The Matrix is everywhere. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. That you are a slave, Neo, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
Morpheus' description of the Matrix fits perfectly as a description of the marketing and propaganda empire that brainwashes billions of people today. For us, spiritual awakening reveals a whole new world of personal possibilities. For Neo, this paradigm is represented as a physical change in the rules of nature, but is simply a visceral metaphor for how we, the audience, can grow and achieve mentally once we become free thinkers who believe in ourselves. The Matrix film is a spiritual wake-up call. It is encouraging you to look deeper, to ask questions, and especially to pay attention to your instincts. Neo is surrounded by symbols. The book Simulacra and Simulation, in which he hides sensitive information, is a philosophy book that explores how symbols and conceptual themes are used by the mainstream media and are leading the public into a distorted version of reality. The soap suds on his boss's window hint at the streams of data that comprise the Matrix. Alice in Wonderland references are everywhere, especially when Neo observes the psychic children while visiting the Oracle. A strange occurrence in the Matrix film is the recurrence of the number 918. Neo is awoken at the start of the film by his clock at 9:18, and the date stamp on the phone tracing at the end of the film also bears the date 9/18/1999. One of the Wachowski brothers, when asked about this in an interview, said that it was simply his wife's birthday. But I'm not convinced of this. I believe they were trying to say something else. Spiritual wake-up calls are also everywhere in our world, but like in the Matrix, are only acknowledged and accepted if we are curious enough to look for them. Most of us have spent our lives swallowing the materialist blue pill because we fear the pain of the spiritual red pill. As with Neo's experience of déjà vu, anything that conflicts with our intelligence-numbing media-induced reality is brushed off as coincidence. Once we do free our minds, we can turn to neglected philosophies such as acupuncture and martial arts, just as Neo does. Materialism can then be discarded as a tool of self-enslavement. And we must learn to disguise our new spiritual awareness so that our minds are impenetrable by the cynical-minded people who would seek to destroy that psychological freedom. So the dark shades worn by the heroes in this film are not just a way of looking cool. The signs and symbols of the Matrix movie delve even into the religious and the ancient. Characters consistently debate over the concepts of fate and prophecy. The term Great Architect means God in many religions, just as the Matrix is designed by an architect. The name Morpheus in Greek mythology is one of the sons of Hypnos, the god of dreams. Neo is Greek for the new man, and Thomas A. Anderson can be broken down religiously. Thomas referring to the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, which depicts the 114 sayings of Jesus, while the name Anderson means Son of Man. The name Trinity is the doctrine that God comprises three beings, the Son, the Father and the Holy Spirit, and is seen by some reviewers as a depiction of the three main characters of the Matrix. The name Smith is non-religious and means to strike. As we know, Agent Smith is simply a tool of oppression who is used to strike against the awakened. The names of Neo's other allies seem to endorse the film's metaphor of cyberspace interaction: Mouse, Link and Switch, while the two characters who were born outside of the Matrix are called Tank and Dozer. Their muscular physiques give credibility to their names and by comparison show how the Matrix physically weakens its host. The name Cypher means to encrypt or conceal information. He's the Judas of the Matrix film and serves as a warning that the awakened must decipher the presence of masked enemies. The multi-layered metaphors and philosophical parallels of the Matrix, fused with technological insights, show a depth which is virtually unheard of in blockbuster action films. The Matrix has drawn an entire generation to its attention through the traditional marketing gimmicks of violence and special effects. But its creators seem to bear full knowledge that as the real world erupts in violence and techno-paranoia, audiences will begin to recognize these parallels within the Matrix universe. This effectively gives the Matrix movies a second life, or a second coming if you will, in which audiences surpass its hedonistic appeals and rediscover the film as a call to free their minds in the real world.